Hi, garden friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Era, and this is Gardening on Purpose. If you're new here, welcome. And if you're a subscriber, welcome back. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch my video. I garden in Georgia, Zone 8A, where I do gardening-related videos. For today's video, I just want to give you an update on the garden after our first hard freeze. Now, as you know, a couple of days ago, we went into a really hard freeze. Our highs were only 38 and our lows were 26, and that was pretty much all day. And there has been some plants that didn't take it too well, but that was expected. I just want to kind of show you. Now, you might have seen a short where I kind of documented that in 60 seconds, showing you what happened, but I definitely want to go into detail about it. So let's get started. All right. So first up, a lot of the Zone 8A plants didn't do too well in this freeze that we had, guys. So here's an example. This is the Chapel Hill Lantana that I've been talking about all season. I've been raving about it. I really, really love it. It's the first year in my garden because I've been searching for perennial lantana. Couldn't find it. This was the best I can find. They said that it should come back if I mulch it properly. Obviously, after I bought this, I had gone up to Growers Outlet and gotten Miss Huff. So that's fine. But this is in the ground. And this guy, because we were freezing for so long, it pretty much tapped out. So as you can see, it looks pretty much gray right now, like gray. It's pretty much done for the season. Now, because it's right on the cusp of being hardy, I cut it back, yeah, but I'm not going to cut it back all the way because I want to give it some protection when we get really cold. Obviously, January is our coldest month. And on top of this thing being mulched, I also wanted to give it a little protection from it, from the weather with the branches from the entire plant. So I cut it back to kind of, clean it up a little bit. But I'm going to wait until the spring to cut it all the way back, right? So this is what it's looking right now. This is the Chapel Hill Lantana, hardy to zone 7B, they say, or 8A. And this guy has done absolutely amazing. The pollinators love it. The birds love it. The bees love it. Butterflies, everything. Everybody just loves this plant, including me. I was really, really impressed with it, but it definitely got hit back by the freeze. So this is what it's looking like right now. Next up, a lot of the Oriental lily foliage that were still standing tall. Obviously, I don't cut them back until this happens because I definitely want them to feed the bulb and so that it can go back to sleep for next year. So these were all standing tall until that freeze. And as you can see, they got beat up. So they're like brownie. So they're pretty much done. So I feel confident now that I can cut the actual foliage back and let the bulb do what it's going to do until next year. So these are pretty much the Stargazer, Casablanca, Presidente, those types of bulbs that are smelling really, really amazing in the summer. But that's pretty much them right now for the 2025 season. The knockout roses are also looking kind of rough, and they are pretty tough. They can do a lot for us in the garden here, and it just took that freeze for them to start looking like this. Because before the freeze, they were looking quite fine, and these guys will bloom and bloom and bloom, and like I always say, these guys bloom until the frost. We got the frost, we got the freeze, so these are what the open flowers were looking like. Now, a lot of the buds are still on the plant. And because we have warmed up to the 70s, guys, I mean, it's crazy how we're going to be in 69, 70, 71 in the highs for the next 10 days. That's how great it's going to be, right? But the whole plant is not done, but the flowers definitely did get damaged. Mexican petunia is another one that's a zone 8A hardy plant, and this guy is done for the season. It has done well as per usual. This is one of the late blooming perennials that does amazingly well. Now, I said I was going to move this guy anyway because it's gotten too big for here, and I need to divide this thing because this thing, remember I told you I bought this plant, one plant I bought for $16.98 at Home Depot a couple of years ago, and from that one plant I have many. Now, they do spread, but I don't find them to spread as terribly as some people have discussed, but that's in my yard. I'm in Georgia. I get a cold to knock him back. I did read that they might be invasive in some parts in Florida. I don't live in Florida, so I don't know that. But I know that this was a division of a division, and it looks like a fully grown plant that has been here for years. And this is just a division of a division. So I know that I need to divide it. And from this, I can get at least 6 plants. But yeah, this is the Mexican petunia that did well all season, but finally got clocked by our freeze. Unsurprisingly, guys, anything that is recently planted that didn't get a chance to fully root in will be susceptible to our cold and especially to our freeze. So here is the Salvia Black and Blue that I had gotten from Growers Outlet. And you guys know I just recently planted this last month. So it definitely got zapped. I mean, it's literally done for the season. It is a beauty. Now, even though I bought it after the main pollinators were gone, once I planted this guy, a lot of other little pollinators came by, and I'm really excited how this guy's going to do next year. It has black and blue blooms, but it got pretty much zapped. Now, this guy here, I believe it's hardy from 7B. And again, I'm in 8. So the fact that it was newly planted is what's making it more susceptible. Chances are, if it's been here for years, it'll be fine. But all I have to do is just cut this guy off. The Mystic Spire Sage or Salvia is another one that has been doing great, and it finally got knocked back. Now, you know, these had these beautiful, really nice blue stalked blooms, but now here they are looking bluey gray because they got hit back. Now, you can see the flowers are not looking too great, but the actual plant, like the day after I came out, this was looking kind of droopy, you know, but ever since we kind of warmed up, the actual foliage has recovered, although the flowers, they're pretty much done for this season. One of the absolute top plants for bees, butterflies, and hummingbirds in my yard, the Mystic Spire Sage. All right, now this doesn't look like much, but this is actually a dahlia. I had cut off all the foliage because that's another plant that cannot take the cold, guys. It's bad enough for the freeze. They can't even take too much cold for too long. They definitely can't take the freeze. And when I came out the next day, this thing was a full mush, like complete mush. And I just cut it off before it became a thing. But yeah, dahlias do well in the ground for me. They come back reliably. Now, if they're in the pot, they're going to die. So what I did, anything that's in the pot, any dahlia that was in the pot is actually in the garage, and it'll stay there all season until we warm up again, and then I'll bring them outside. But here's a stalk of a dahlia here that I had cut off, and then I have another dahlia in this bed. Butterfly weed is another one that is a zone 8A plant that I got from Home Depot, and it's been coming back year after year. And this is one of the plants that's great for the monarch caterpillars. They ate them to the sticks earlier, and then even after they ate them to the sticks and they turned into butterflies and all that, the plant actually came back. And then after it came back, it bloomed, and then it got knocked back. But what I love about this plant is that I bought one plant, and from that one plant, because the seeds spread by the wind, I've been seeing so many plants, you know, showing up in my yard, hence so many more monarch butterflies in my yard. But this guy here is another plant, just that same day, that very same day, I bought the Mexican petunia at Home Depot. I bought this guy, and they were both $16.98. And I remember saying to myself, wow, I'm about to buy a plant for $16.98. But this plant has been giving and giving and giving. But this is what it's looking like after the freeze. Here's a Miss Huff lantana. This is supposed to be the official perennial lantana that's supposed to come back, especially for me here in Zone 8A. Now, I had bought 4 from Growers Outlet, right? And I put 2 just to put it in the ground, and this is what it's looking like. Now, I have the other 2 that's in the garage that looks quite fine. But again, these guys, these tropical plants, they really can't take the freeze for too long. Maybe if it was just an hour or 2, but the whole day of being somewhere between 26 and 38 is what it did to my Miss Huff. But I'm pretty confident that this guy will come back for me in the garden. Here's my Daphne odora. No sign of any damage, and I am so happy and I am so impressed. This guy I got from Growers Outlet as well, as you know, got it for 18 whole dollars, guys. And this also is newly planted, but not a sign of damage at all. I am so happy with this guy, and I'm really hoping that this guy comes through for me in this garden. Now, you saw a video of when I planted it. You actually saw when I bought it, all that stuff. And it was a pretty small plant, but it's pretty much protected with the leaves and everything. So I guess that's why it did well. But I'm going to show you another plant that's not looking too great that I bought the same time, planted the same time. Now, and that's going to be the Edgeworthia. Now, my mistake, guys. I should have protected this guy. And even after those couple of days, the Edgeworthia is not looking the greatest, because other plants that did look like this have already, bounced back, but the Edgeworthia hasn't yet. And I'm just holding out hope. That's all I can do right now. I should have covered this guy. That's the one plant I should have covered, because it's literally zone 8 and newly planted and just not accustomed to the yard yet. It had not been rooted in, and for whatever reason, I didn't make that conscious effort to go and protect it. And this is what it's looking like. So I'll definitely keep you updated to see how it looks. You can see the leaves are looking kind of shrivelly, and the buds are still nodding down. So I got this from Growers Outlet, like I said, and this guy here, it wasn't expensive, but I definitely don't want this guy to die. But this is what it's looking like a couple of days after the freeze. The Eclipse hydrangea is looking great, just like the Daphne. You can't tell that we had a freeze, because these guys are still looking great as far as I'm concerned, But again, they must be really tough, guys, because a lot of the hydrangeas, like if you see back here, those are a combination of bloomstruck and a lot of the macrophyllus. Those sticks you're seeing there, they've lost their leaves. They've lost their leaves, but not this guy here. And especially those guys have been here longer than this guy here, right? So to see that they lost their leaves and this Eclipse by First Editions is still looking great, I'm really, really impressed. My yellow anise are doing great. Another set of plants that I bought from Growers Outlet. Now they look great, but if I zoom in close, you're going to see a little bit of damage. And that's just the youngest foliage. The newest foliage, those are a little bit more susceptible to the freeze, right? So you can see it's kind of browny there. You can see it right there. And you can see it up here too, because the newest foliage is supposed to be a really nice yellow. And it was. And you can tell the difference on the plant. Now, if you come further down, you can see the more mature leaves, they're quite fine. No sign of damage one bit, those green guys. But anything that was yellow is now a little bit brown because of the freeze for a whole day. Salvia Santa Barbara are another one that I had gotten from Growers Outlet that got zapped. And again, these are all on the cusp. So same story, guys. If it's zone 7B or 8 and newly planted and not completely rooted, they're likely going to get knocked back. But they're going back to sleep so they can put on a great show next year. And I love these because they have these really nice fuzzy full flowers that look great, and it's definitely a great addition to the garden. You guys know I'm a fan of purple or blue or orange or yellow, so this is why I picked these up. But yeah, this is what they're looking like, all zapped for a hard freeze. All right, so here are canna lilies, and I knew they weren't going to come back, but I have so many, I was okay with this one going down. It's in a container. And it's a canna lily, which means it's definitely not going to come back. For us, if the canna lily is in the ground, no problem. It will come back reliably. But if it's in a container, it's not going to make it. And I just didn't feel like taking all this out and wrapping it in paper and putting it in a dark place until next year. I just let it be. And I could just reuse this container. So I have 2 containers with canna lilies that are pretty much done. So I'm actually going to figure out what to do with this container for the entire season, because here we are in November and we have December, January, February, March. I need to put some pretty stuff in here. I know you saw these guys too. These are the mammoth elephant ears, and they definitely can't take a freeze. And just like the canna lilies, just like the dahlias, once they're in the ground, they'll come back for me reliably. But once the freeze happens, it will knock them back, and I'll just cut the stalk off, like cut this trunk off, and let it just go back to sleep, and it will come right back. But this is what it's looking like right now. And once it gets to freeze, it doesn't recover. Like I said, a lot of plants recover, but these guys here, again, tropical plants usually don't recover after a long freeze like that. They pretty much go back to sleep and then come back next year. Pretty much all hostas have decided to go to sleep, and that's expected. Now, the thing with me is that I don't go and start pulling off my hostas, all these foliage right here. I let that just disintegrate on its own. I don't take the time to pull it off, and it has worked quite fine for me. None of my hostas are diseased, so there's no need for me to hurriedly pull things off and mulch. Every year for the last 5 years, this is what I've been doing. This is what all the hostas are pretty much looking like. They have done absolutely amazing in my yard, and after a while, they are pretty much done. Remember, I had showed you a lot of the plants that are in containers that I either brought inside in the covered patio, or I covered with a frost cloth, or I kind of put them all together so they can actually help each other through the cold. And everybody's looking great. No complaints here at all. Anything that was in a container is likely something that is hardy from zone 6, 5, or 4. So they can definitely take the freeze. Now, finally, my peppers are done. Now, even though I don't spend a lot of time on my edible garden, I did get a lot of these jalapeno peppers, and they are pretty much done. Now, I do know that peppers are perennial, but I don't do them as perennial. But anything that was in a grow bag is pretty much absolutely done. Otherwise, all the roses in the containers and a lot of the perennials are still doing great after the freeze. With all that's damaged in the garden, guys, there actually are some really bright spots that I definitely want to report as well. It's definitely not all negative. It's not all bad. Even though, we had a freeze, a lot of plants are going to sleep. A lot of plants actually like the freeze, and they have actually been doing well. So here I want to show you my dwarf Burford holly that I had transplanted. And not only is it taken well to the transplant, it's given me my red berries, which is great. Right? This is an evergreen holly that does amazingly well in my garden, and I wanted to bring it in the bed to create a little bit more of some evergreen interest, because this is a time of the year when a lot of plants are going to sleep, and this is when the evergreens are going to start putting on a show. And the fact that the berries are on here and they have turned red is amazing. All my Puckster butterfly bushes, the Puckster periwinkle, the Puckster amethyst, the Puckster pinker, they're all still doing great. Butterfly bushes are pretty hardy, though. I'm not even surprised about this. They are hardy from zones 5, right? And they can take a freeze. And with us, butterfly bushes are semi-evergreen here. Depending on how bad our winter is, they will look like this all season. Now, this one here is the amethyst, right? Here's the pinker. Now, the pinker was a clearance plant, which is why it's looking like that, but it still looks great. It's going to keep those leaves unless we get a really, really bad winter. It should be fine, but they're all doing well after the freeze. My Dutch irises are beginning to poke their heads out. Now, these guys are bulbs that I had bought years ago, and I planted them all over the yard. There's this purple, blue, it's purple, but they call them Blue Magic, and you can see them right here, and different levels of poking out. So here's right here, and then you see them right here. See right there? They're coming out there. And then for whatever reason, these guys here, they're all the way out right here. Now, when I planted that white wedding hydrangea, I had forgotten that I had the Dutch iris there. So that's why it's so close to that root. These guys here, they like the cooler season. They will start putting on foliage, but they won't bloom until the spring. But yeah, that's definitely an interesting and really nice highlight. Here we are in the middle of November. Something else positive to report is that I planted 4 new yellow anise. Now, these 4 guys here, 1, 2, 3, 4, these green guys right there, those I had gotten from Atlanta growers, right? Which is not close to me, but it's not far either. And these guys are way bigger than the ones I got from Growers Outlet. Now, these are the 3 I got from Growers Outlet. Growers Outlet, I believe I got these for $18. And at Atlanta Growers, I believe I got these for 16. So I got four. Now they are a shade plant. They are an Elysium. They're evergreen. They love the shade. They're green, but the new foliage is yellow. And I thought it was a great addition as a backdrop to my little chain link fence situation that I got going on back there. But yeah, guys, I'm really liking this plant. Now I hope it does well in my yard. You guys know I've been looking for something to put on this side for quite a while that can take the shade. This is what it's looking like. And everybody looks great and healthy. So I'm really happy to report that. Finally, guys, I have been so impressed with this plant. Now, if you've been following me for a while, you know I talk about it a lot because this guy just never stops blooming, if you ask me. This is the famous white-eyed phlox. Got this a while back from Lowe's, and this guy has been blooming since, late spring. It does amazing. And yeah, the plant doesn't look the greatest right now because of the freeze, but this thing is still blooming. Look at this beauty. It had its really nice white blooms. Not only is it blooming, guys, look at all the buds still waiting to come out. This is nuts how this plant does so well. This thing has been blooming forever. So I definitely would recommend it. I've had it for quite a while. It comes back reliably. The bees love it. Now, it might not be a top plant for pollinators, but gosh, guys, it's something to look at later on in the season. Now, this guy probably could have looked better if I had pruned it properly or cut it back properly, but I just can't tell you how excited I am that this famous white-eyed phlox is still blooming. Here we are in the middle of November. That's pretty much it for me today, guys. Let me know what you think. Let me know how your garden has been doing since the freeze. Have you warmed up? Are you still below freezing? How did the plants do? Let me know what you think, guys. Please like, please share, and please subscribe. Remember to hit that notification bell so you can be alerted on all my new videos. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.